Good afternoon. I'm Nikki Scott. I am the host of Addict Talk. I am going to be doing a series of videos that are talking about social emotional health because it's so important. And so my first guest is Dr. Sheba Jordan. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So before we get started, I'm going to read a bio about Dr. Jordan. It's very impressive. And then we'll get started. So Dr. Jordan is a leader, educator, and entrepreneur whose work is rooted in purpose, service, and impact. A native of the Mississippi Delta, she resides in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and brings a wealth of experience across education, mental health, and business. She holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Southern Mississippi and a master's from the University of William Carey College and a doctorate from Mississippi State University. Sheba began her career with the Mississippi Department of Mental Health at Ellisville State School as an evaluator, rising to unit director of psychology while also serving as a substance abuse counselor and adjunct professor. Her journey has included roles as a college professor and successful business owner of D&J Transport Services, LLC. She currently serves as a psychometrist for the Petal School District and continues her work as an adjunct instructor. Sheba is also the owner of Fit for Royalty Vacations and the founder of the leadership program platform focused on leadership development and cultural competence. Above all, she considers herself, or her greatest accomplishments, to be her son, DJ Jordan. Passionate about growth and connection, she enjoys traveling, learning about different cultures, and serving actively in her church, sorority, and community. She is committed to empowering others to lead with purpose and authenticity. That's very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So just to get started, I have a mission statement that I want to read. It's empowering the silence to speak their truth and prioritize their mental well-being across all spheres of life. The purpose of this was to create a safe place or space for the vulnerable to communicate while understanding each other, which is the foundation of finding lasting answers. And so I wrote this book, Chick, based off of I had an addiction that played a real big part in my life. I was not personally addicted, but I had relatives and close ones that were to me, and I wrote this book not realizing that I needed to find inner peace. And through writing this book, I was able to find inner peace. And I feel like social emotional health is very important, and I feel like we don't pay enough attention to the people that surround or support the people that are addicts. And so I wanted you to come here, not just to talk about that, but just to talk about where your foundation started, where you're at, and then where you're going, your future. So it's like the past, the present, the future. So I'll start off by saying, what was your childhood like?
Well, I grew up in the Mississippi Delta, and the Mississippi Delta, is all flat land. But those were some of the happiest times in my life. I came from a two-parent household, middle-class family. My mother and my father both worked hard. I was involved in several different community organizations. I was active in school. I played tennis, band. We traveled from the Rose Bowl to Paris, France. So my childhood was absolutely great. If I could go back, I would.
That's amazing.
And through the Mississippi Delta, I learned a lot about resilience and perseverance. So that's what shaped and molded me today.
Okay. Who was your mentor? Who was the person that shaped and molded you?
Well, my first mentor, of course, is my mother. But because of her, I feel like I'm a great mother to DJ. She was very hands-on. She could think about my needs and my wants before I even could think about it. Like when I would go on trips with school or just anywhere, she packed this or extra. She'd know if I'm sick. She just all the things. She was a great mother. And then my father, he was a provider, and to this day, my father is absolutely a great man, a man of God, and that's what has sustained me and helped mold my relationship, helped me to grow into church. But also my aunts were very strong women. They were registered nurses at the age of 20.
Wow.
My teachers,
Impressive.
principals, you know, all the things. So, and then the women in my community that I would see them wear pink and green.
Mhm.
And I was like, one day I'm going to be just like those ladies, because they were educators, they were leaders, they were impactful people in the community. And then I was a part of a club called Progressive Arts and Civics. And a lot of those women were our mentors, and they also, some of them served in our sorority, my sorority that I'm a part of.
That's amazing. So that's your past. That's
Mhm.
good, and that molded you to be the person you are presently,
Right.
currently. So when we think about life today, it's difficult.
And very.
And so, and it's hard. There's struggles. Everybody struggles. So, do you? What is peace to you? What does that mean to you?
I think for peace is first of all, it's a state of being. It's kind of it's a constant. It's it's not dynamic. It kind of stays the same. So, for example, being or as opposed to happiness. Let me just say that. So happiness is an emotion, it's a feeling, whereas peace is how you are. So I could be happy but overwhelmed.
Sure.
I could be successful but overwhelmed. So for me, for peace, again, that's a state of being. And
like the external, that can make you happy, but it's only for a short term.
Right. So our happiness, it changes. Its emotion is based off of circumstances. So what happens is, if I'm successful today and I'm doing good on my job, I may be happy. Or if it's, even if relationships, I could be sad, I could be happy. It's just dynamic. It's fluid. So it just changes. It changes. It's always ever changing. And so happiness, for me, and as opposed to emotion. So how I look at it is, for happiness for me is I had to learn to be emotional intelligence.
Okay.
That was a key role in helping me regulate my emotions and how I feel, which led to me having peace.
Okay.
So the first and foremost, the one constant in my life is God. So my life is anchored by God, my faith in Him. And He's the author and finisher of my faith. So, so how I used to be a person that would, my state of being kind of depended on, when I was younger, like, you know, how people feel about me, or how am I going to control this situation, or if this doesn't happen, you know, it's just going to ruin my world, or if, you know, even when my mother passed away, you know, like, how am I ever going to be at peace with that, like, you know, having to lose such a major part of my life. But again, my faith is one thing that keeps me grounded. But I also have learned that my happiness does not depend on a person. That's something I have to find for myself. Not to say, I think that I'm a very strong person, but we all are flawed, and we all have our ups and downs. It's just, again, it's circumstances. So for me, I had to learn that nobody can make Sheba happy but me. My happiness will change based off the situation or the circumstances. But also external factors. Nobody can tell me how I should feel, or tell me what it should be like, or I shouldn't feel this way, or I should be at peace about this situation or that situation. But what I had to learn was that I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, how do you walk in a place when, you know, people may not care for you, or they may not be happy with you, or you know, it's going to be some conflict or some dynamics of personalities clash. And I said, I walk in with my head held high. Not because I can't control other people's emotion, but I can't allow their negative energy to come into my territory, into my space. So I have to always get in a mental state that no matter what it is, I'm going to be content, because it's a Bible verse that tells us I've learned to be content no matter what the situation is. So that's kind of how I look at things. Like, I've learned to be content no matter what the situation is. So, like, for example, if some people get a diagnosis and they say, oh, my life is over, and it's just done. No, I know that it might be troublesome, it might be hard, but at the end of the day, my peace still resides with my Father who is in heaven. And so that's kind of how I look at peace, a state of being.
Yeah.
And,
Only control the variables that you can control.
Mhm.
And that goes along with what I wrote in this book. That was talking about mentors. My father was a huge mentor in my life, and that was the message he told me my entire life. Only control the variables that you can control, because you can't control others.
That's
And
right.
so you have to, and that's what you were just saying. You can't control what everybody else is doing. You
Yes,
can only
that's
control
right.
what Sheba's going to do. I can only control what Nikki's going to do. It's you can't control anybody else. So
That's
that's
true.
a very good message
That's true.
that you led into. So going off of what you just said. So happiness is the external. The inner peace is internal. And I know that we all go through trials and tribulations.
Mhm.
So have you, or do you have inner peace?
Yes, I do. I at least I think I do.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I can use examples where I've had maybe a medical scare.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
But again, for me, inner peace is a state of being.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you are.
Okay.
So for me, no matter what the situation looked like, it may not be as grim as it seemed.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I have the inner peace that I'm rooted in my faith.
Yes.
God's gonna provide. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't even know. Even if it is bad at the end, my peace resides with God, who's the sustainer of my faith.
Yes.
So regardless of what it appears to be or what it may seem like in the end, it's gonna be okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna have faith. It's gonna work out. I can't worry about it. I gotta fix it, and I gotta trust Him, and I gotta move forward and keep pressing forward to get better every day, regardless of whatever the issue is that I'm facing.
Yeah, you have a really strong foundation in that area. I'm still working on it. That's why I wrote this book again. There were many times when I was going through the things that I talk about in the book where I felt really alone, and I felt like I was on an island by myself, and I couldn't really figure out what to do, because didn't matter how hard I tried to say, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm saying, it was fell on deaf ears. So it was like
Right.
I was being silenced, but nobody was telling me to be quiet. It just, nobody was really, I didn't feel like people were listening. And so I turned it around and tried to, like you said, I had that faith in God. I can only, trust Him. He's the only one that's going to be there for me, and put it all in His hands. So I do like that message that you sent just then, because I'm working on it. I feel like I found inner peace, but then I'm up and down, because I find myself, the enemy's out there, and it's always trying to come at me, and I'm trying to figure out every day, how can I, stay away. I need, and so I've tried to just have inner peace about only the variables I can control, step away. And that's what I had to do. I ultimately had to walk away from my family because it was so negative. Have you ever been faced with anything that was that difficult?
Well, whether it's, in my career trajectory, I faced several trials, or even dynamics of relationships, whether it's personal relationships. So, for example, personal relationships that didn't always serve me, but it's very hard to make a decision and say, oh, I'm going to leave. I'm going to walk away from this issue, especially when you're dealing with people who you love, who you care about. That's not an easy task. It's a very daunting task. But I think people underestimate the power of mental health and counseling, or how important mental health plays a role into our everyday life. For me, I do not mind, even if because I worked in mental health years, I will go and get a counselor. Even though I worked in mental health, I done been in substance abuse, I will go and get a counselor. However, people underestimate the power of mental health. So having to make a choice to walk away from a relationship or family dynamics, but I'll just say personal relationships in the past, it was very hard. But again, my faith had to sustain me, but I also knew about the power of mental health. Like, I need to go get a counselor to help me kind of process these things, maybe to help me kind of walk through and navigate these challenges. But it's not easy to do. And sometimes you can get reared back into stuff that may not be good for you.
Yes.
But we always want to have that sense of belonging. We want to have that connection with our family or loved ones. And it's hard to walk away, especially when you think, oh, it's a hint, it's a possibility. They made a change.
Yes.
But the hardest thing for people to do is accepting people for who they are.
Yes, that's true.
And so, go ahead.
No, I was just saying,
Yeah.
go ahead. I was listening.
So
I
when
was
we
agreeing with you.
think that they made this change, again, it's a loved one, but they showed us who they are
Yeah.
time and time again.
Mhm.
So at some point, to keep allowing these things to happen, or this same trauma or hurt to continue to be put on you,
Mhm.
it becomes your fault
Yeah.
because they've shown us.
Yes.
We're just not willing to accept it.
Okay.
So, again, prayer, asking God to help me to accept the things that I can't change,
Right.
and the people.
Yes, I agree because I just come from. I'm not from the mental health aspect. I know that it's very important because of the job that I do,
Mm-hmm.
and I see because we're both in education, so we see it every day.
Yes.
The children are getting smaller and smaller, or younger and younger. They're having mental health issues, and anxiety and depression are the main ones.
Yes.
It's scary. But I know that it is daunting, and I had to choose between my mental health and what I was going through, and living my daily life and sustaining, or continuing that pattern, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
Mhm.
And I did not seek a counselor, and you might can talk on this. Some people like myself, I may not trust a counselor.
Yeah.
I may not feel comfortable because they have not been there
Yeah.
necessarily.
True.
And
That's
some
true.
have. So that's kind of where I came from. I was like, I don't know that they'll really understand.
Yes.
What I'm going through. So can you speak on that, or what that
So
looks
for
like?
me, I've had counselors for various reasons. Premarital,
Mhm.
during marriage, when I made the decision to walk away from personal relationships, but before I kind of knew that was the trajectory I was going to take.
Mhm.
But you have to have a counselor that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because I have had counselors, and I was like, no, this what they're saying and what I'm wanting to convey, it's just not lining up, and I don't feel comfortable. I feel like they're just here listening.
Okay.
I need a counselor that's approachable, that understands complex relationships, which they should all.
Mhm.
But it's kind of hard. You got to find a counselor that suits you and you feel like can give you, and also that's trustworthy,
Yes.
but that's suitable for you, that you feel can understand and provide you some, self-awareness, things to help you work on and work toward it.
Yes, I like that.
So yeah, being in counseling is very hard. But I also too had to learn, sometimes we get hurt in situations because we love people, or the people that we love that hurt us. But you have to have a counselor that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because I have had counselors, and I was like, no, this what they're saying and what I'm wanting to convey, it's just not lining up, and I don't feel comfortable. I feel like they're just here listening.
Okay.
I need a counselor that's approachable, that understands complex relationships, which they should all. But it's kind of hard. You got to find a counselor that suits you and you feel like can give you, and also that's trustworthy, but that's suitable for you, that you feel can understand and provide you some, self-awareness, things to help you work on and work toward it.
Yes, I like that.
So yeah, being in counseling is very hard. But I also too had to learn, sometimes we get hurt in situations because we love people, or the people that we love that hurt us, to realize is that sometimes, people who hurt us, or we feel that hurt us, in their minds, they may feel like, I've done nothing wrong, I haven't hurt you, and perception is reality. My perception is reality,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to allow you to diminish how I feel. But sometimes we also have to look at people and say, you know what, they're going through something on their own, and what they're projecting to me is because of what they're going through. And I have to be okay with, they are who they are because they're dealing with some things that they haven't resolved. So I just got to be me, my authentic self, and protect my energy, and don't let that spill over into me, or even if I have to step away from it. I can't let their energy, control my emotions and how I feel. And sometimes we got to recognize some people haven't dealt with the things that they're going through. And it can make you feel miserable.
Yeah, that's true. I love, you're strong. You got all this foundation. So that's the past. Now we're going to the present. And just tell me a little bit about, if you have something bothering you, you still have to go on throughout your day.
Oh, child.
So, like,
yeah.
what- I
Especially
mean-
for a career like ours.
Yeah. So, like, what does that look like for you in a day?
You know, again, a lot of times on the outside looking in, people can see people and think, oh, you know, she's always put together.
Mhm.
Oh, it's nothing bothering that person. But you never know the internal battles or struggles people are facing every day.
Mhm.
But I do know that, for one, I got one person depending on me to make it,
Mhm.
to be there for them, to be strong, and that's my son.
Yes.
So, of course, he is the person that drives me. That's my purpose. He's my why.
Mhm.
But I still have to get the job done, do what I need to do, still go on with everyday life, because I know, for one, trouble don't last forever.
Mhm.
Even though it seems bad, I got to deal with it head on. And I don't believe in leaving stones unturned.
Okay. Mm.
I believe in sometimes we got to have crucial conversations with people, whether they want to accept it or not. And that's the only way that it deals with conflict resolution.
Mhm.
So I can, and some people ain't open to having those crucial conversations. So if they're not open to having those crucial conversations, then I gotta accept it. I gotta try to deal with it. So whatever it is, I'm trying to be proactive. I'm trying to find a solution for it and keep it moving. That's all I can think is I gotta keep it moving. It's just another bump in the road, but I gotta keep moving. I gotta get past it. And again, prayer, my prayer
Lots
life.
of prayer.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got past, present. What's the future like for Dr. Sheila Jordan? What's going to happen in the future? What
Well, I hope that I can just ride off into the sunset and retire.
okay.
Before that, you know, I got a few more years. So my son is, he's a sophomore. He'll be a junior soon. And so he'll go off to college and I'll retire. And I'll start some new endeavors, whether it's school, whether it's another career trajectory. But I know one thing that I will always do is make sure my faith is strong, be active in my church, hopefully in my community, and in my sorority, where we uplift our local communities and help empower families.
Okay, I love that. That's amazing. That's great advice. Do you have any advice for me moving forward, as far as, you know, I'm still working on myself?
Well,
So-
I think that, you know, you made the step to write this book, because again, no one can tell you what's your reality. You can't let someone ever tell you, try to make your past or how you interpreted the situation or the incident or the relationship. You can't let them interpret it for you. It's your story to tell. What you've done well in this book. It's a great book, by the way. If you want to get this book, make sure you get this book.
Thank you.
It's a raw truth. It's a great book, so pick it up on Amazon. But anyway, so
You're my number one cheerleader. I love it.
So, but again, your truth, that's your reality.
Yes.
You need to tell your story, be okay with your story, and then work through it. You working through it now by telling the story. You talking about it. You letting it out. There's no sense of keeping it in. And sometimes, hopefully, through all of this, no matter what it looks like in the end, or no matter what relationships are savage or not, your truth is there. And you don't have to go back and revisit with them, because if they're not willing to accept your truth, then there's no sense of talking about it, because your truth is still going to remain.
Spoken by a true pro.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on
Well,
here.
thank you
I
for
really appreciate
having
it.
me.
And we're going to, will you come back?
Of course.
Yes, okay, good. Thank you for joining Addict Talk. It's whatever's in your attic we're going to talk about, and we want to help other people.
Yes, we
And
do.
so we want to, we do feel like there's a mental health crisis, and we feel like that it's getting, the children are getting younger and younger that are suffering, and you can imagine we're adults and we still struggle. So we're trying to offer advice and help for anybody that is willing to listen and wants to know that they're not alone in this, and we're gonna fight this battle together, and I hope that we can find some success together.
Yes.
Okay, tune in again. We'll have some other guests on, and hopefully Dr. Jordan will come back and see us, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.